So every headline is screaming about AI taking jobs, but what I'm thinking about is how these tools are quietly redefining what it means to be human. Our creativity, our relationships with ourselves, even our sense of self. And as someone building a one-person AI-powered business and interacting with AI pretty much every day, these are the questions beneath the questions that nobody's asking, but everyone should be. Hi, I'm Elena, and on this channel we talk about how to use AI to build authentic online business that align with our values, our lifestyle, and our passions as solopreneurs and creators. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and join our community here on YouTube. But today I want to have a different type of conversations. I want to share the questions that genuinely keep me up at night, not only as an AI entrepreneur, but as someone trying to build a meaningful life in this rapidly shifting landscape, as someone who is raising kids in this world today. I'm going to go through a couple of reflections and a couple of deeper implications that I see coming in the AI era that we're not talking enough about. So we're at the stage right now that we'll be able to create almost anything just by basically speaking it into existence with the AI tools that we have today. So not just the blog posts or images, like I'm talking entire software applications, custom built tools, fully functioning businesses, and all without any coding experience or technical expertise. So anyone can create anything anytime. So anyone can create a functional app or software just by describing what they want to create. No code, just using words. When the barriers between imagination and creation essentially disappear, what happens to the value? Does the value shift from can you build this to can you actually envision and think it in your head and think what could exist? So I see a future where the divide is actually not between technical and not technical people anymore. I think it's the divide between the visionaries and the followers, and those who can imagine new possibilities and those who can simply execute existing patterns or following instructions. So the truly scarce resource won't be skill, it will be imagination. And that's something I don't think AI can replicate. And we see this shift already happening, and it's going to completely transform which abilities we value most. Here's another thing that keeps me up. As AI gets better at mimicking our voices or adopting our writing style, speaking styles, our pattern of thought, who owns us? Do we own us? Does someone else own us? I've already seen and I'm using tools that can analyze my content, my tone of voice, and help me generate new materials that sound like me, my tone, my expression. And I ask myself, what happens when the line between me and the AI generated me blurs completely? So is my voice, my unique way of expressing myself, still mine when it can be perfectly replicated? And we can question perfectly. I think nothing is super far from being perfect right now, but let's say it gets there someday. So this isn't just a creator concern. I think that's a fundamentally human concern. Our sense of self is partially built on our unique expression. I actually am convinced that we're moving towards the future where authenticity becomes our most valuable currency. And we're already seeing this emerge with the rise of no AI tags, human-made certifications, as it used to be with fair trade or handmade. People instinctively recognize that something is changing about how we value creation and expression. But I think the bigger transformation isn't about what's being replaced, it's actually about what's being amplified. So there's another gap emerging that I observe that keeps me up at night, and it's not the one that I expected actually. I used to think that the main AI divide would be technical or even demographic, but who has access to the tools or who understands how to use them. But I'm starting to see something more fundamental, I think. I think AI amplifies who we already are. I think people with agency and vision become exponentially more capable, and those with curiosity can explore and create at just unmatched speed. So someone with a clear sense of purpose can now accomplish in days what might have taken years. But meanwhile, those who are already passive consumers and mindless TikTok scrollers, they risk becoming even more passive. If you're already spending hours mindlessly scrolling, AI optimized content will only make that pull stronger. So the real divide won't be about technical skills or access. It will be about mindset. It will be about agency. It will be about whether you're directing those tools with intention or being directed by them. This divide isn't predetermined by traditional factors like geography, socioeconomic status, but concerning because agency isn't equally distributed either. I believe the most important thing that we can cultivate right now in ourselves and our children is the sense of agency. So the understanding that you can direct these tools rather than just respond to them. I think this transformation in how we relate to technology is changing everything else too. We talk a lot about AI automating jobs, but that's just the beginning. And I think the more profound shift is in how these tools can extend human capability beyond what was previously possible. I experienced it myself as an online entrepreneur. I can research complex topics in minutes instead of days. I can explore ideas like as soon as I get them and go really deep. I can test and iterate on concepts like at a pace that was not available before, even just a couple of years ago. And here I wonder, how will this augmentation reshape our understanding of human potential? So when the limitations of individual knowledge and processing power are dramatically reduced, what becomes possible? And we might be approaching an explosion of human creativity and innovation, not because AI is creative, but because it removes the friction between our ideas and their execution and the time it gets in between to reach that. This evolution is going to demand an entirely different approach to how we raise and educate the next generation. What skills will actually matter for our children in AI-powered world? And this question hits deeply because I have a 2-year-old, I have an 8-year-old that are growing up in this time. And for the majority of it, our education systems have been designed for the industrial era, right? So standardized testing, memorization, conformity. They are not preparing kids for what's to come. We're heading into the world where AI can instantly recall any fact or write any basic essay. And I believe the truly essential skills aren't on any of the evaluation criteria right now. The ability to ask original questions, the courage to express a unique perspective instead of conforming to the patterns that already exist. And that's what really excites me with AI in education, like the possibility of returning to maybe somewhat more natural and human. Remember when we were small children, like when we get fascinated by something, like we just want to pursue it. Like we don't have this mindset of like all the musts and shoulds around us yet. And with time, we diminish that, like we destroy that in ourselves, right? Because the society raises us in a different way. So somewhere along the way, most of us have lost that. So we learn to pursue what is like what we should be doing instead of what lights us up instead of what we have curiosity for. So I keep thinking, what if now is the time when this paradigm is like crumbling? When AI can handle so many practical tasks, shouldn't we be teaching kids something entirely different? So not just like some slightly updated, but maybe something completely reimagined. What if education became about protecting and nurturing this natural curiosity? What if school was where you went to pursue your creative quests, to imagine new possibilities and bring them into the world with AI as your assistants, to identify problems that you want to solve and solving them with AI? So while I think our educational institutions are treating AI as like just another form of cheating, they don't really understand even how to approach that, I believe. I think it needs a fundamental rethink about what and how we teach. And so I find myself caring very little about the grades that my kids would bring home and much more about whether my children are going to develop their unique voice and keep their curiosity. Because I think in the world where AI can do pretty much anything, things that are uniquely human are becoming more like our most precious resources. And here's another thing I keep thinking about. As AI makes content creation so essentially like easy and infinite, what happens to human attention? So human attention is finite. Like, we still only have 24 hours a day. We still only can consume so much. But in the world of AI generated abundance of content, like, I believe the human attention becomes even more scarce resource that it's been now since the social media came around. And I think there is two potential futures. One is where our attention is increasingly manipulated, harvested, and sold to the highest bidder through all those sophisticated AI algorithms that are designed to capture and hold our attention for as long as possible. But also there is another possible future where we develop new norms, new tools, and practices that will help us to reclaim our attention, where we value depth, where we value connection over consumption. I think this is not just about the business models, it's about what kind of society we want to create. Do we want to be constantly distracted by increasingly perfect and beautiful content, or do we want to cultivate spaces where genuine human presence maybe matters more than like an optimized routine? There are more questions that live in my mind that come and go, but those were the ones that's been camping in my brain lately, so I just wanted to share them. I don't think they have simple answers. Like, I think they're not the problems to solve per se, as much as just the thought experiment to explore together. I think we're living in a fascinating time. I don't think the future is predetermined. I think that it's being written right now through everyday choices that we make about how we use the tools, what we value, what we prioritize in our lives, and what kind of world we want to create. So I would love to hear from you. What thoughts do you have? Did something resonate? And if so, why? What things about AI keep you up at night? I would love to hear that. Thank you so much for watching this video. Just drop your comments and thoughts below, and I'll see you in the next one.